Okay, everything looks good. Let's go ahead and move on over. Audio up. Okay. Now, before I start grinding, I'm going to spend a bit and do the last of the school stuff. So all the tests and everything, I'll go ahead and get that done. Yes, I know, you're cold. Just so we can finish off that portion and we don't have to worry about it later. As well as I need to complete the sections with the teachers. I'll save that. Okay. Do the last class and then the final exam. So we'll start with biology. Some new things today. Next time we meet, we'll have our final exam. That means today is our last actual class. And the topic of this last class will be Pokemon forms. You can just think of forms as the shapes or appearances that Pokemon take. There is also a phenomenon called a form change, where a Pokemon's appearance changes under certain conditions. Cyclezar, for example, which we regularly ride on as transportation here in Paldea, has 3 forms. First is its basic form, where it walks on 4 legs. Second is its battle form, where it stands on its hind legs to engage in battle. Finally, there is its ride form, where it inflates its throat sac and its tail so it can ride on its back. Though I can use something you're all carrying with you now as an even better example. Yep, I'm talking about your phones. Some smartphones are inhabited by a certain Pokemon. Does anyone know the Pokemon I'm referring to? There's a Heracross in my phone, yes. You're a regular Pokemon expert on Pokemon and technology, aren't you, Potomi? The Pokemon inside your smartphone is Rotom, and it does all sorts of things to help you out. The Rotom inside a Rotom phone is special, so it doesn't try to enter other electronics. An ordinary Rotom, however, can change form by entering washing machines, microwave ovens, and other electric appliances. Rotom is a bit of an exception, though. Many Pokemon that change form do so simply by holding an item or having one used on them. Oricorio, for example, has 4 different forms it can change between when given certain nectars. Pokemon that may even change type or learn different moves when they change form. Form changes are different from evolution in that the Pokemon can return to its original form. And unlike shiny Pokemon, which can't change their special coloration, the same individual Pokemon can go back and forth between its forms. There's a lot to dig into with this form change phenomenon, as you can see. We can all learn something from Pokemon here, don't you think? Bit of a stretch, but I'd be happy to see you all enjoy your time at the Academy to the fullest, and change form into a new version of yourselves. Or something like that anyway. Oh, I almost forgot. Regional forms, which are based on the region the Pokemon came from, don't change like other forms. They are innate. Whoops, there's the bell. I guess I was scatterbrained Mr. Jacques right up to the very end, huh? I had a great time teaching all of you. I hope you do your best on the final exam. Okay. Finish up by taking the final. And we'll start the next class. Hello everyone, today is our final exam. It will cover everything I've taught you so far, but I'm sure you'll all do just fine. Take your time and contemplate each question carefully. How many of the following four methods make it easier to catch a Pokemon? I guess inflicting paralysis or surprising it. So 2? Using a Poketoy probably doesn't work, and feeding it a berry only works in, like, Pokemon Go. True or false? You can get a new Pokemon only by catching them yourself or trading with other trainers. That's false. They're everywhere. If a Pokemon is holding an Everstone, will using an item that induces evolution, such as a Firestone, cause it to evolve? No. The probability of running into a shiny Pokemon. That's 1 in 4,000. True or false? The Pokemon known as Oricorio has 3 forms. That is false. It has 4? Yeah, 4. This question won't affect your grade. Do you have anything you would like to say about my class? I'm still getting used to this teaching thing, but I sure had fun as your teacher. Teaching, you can do it. Okay, time's up whether you like it or not. I hope everyone enjoyed tackling those questions. I snuck a little bonus question there, right at the end again. Our little secret. Don't tell the director. I'll grade these right away. I hope you're all looking forward to seeing how you did. Let's take a look at the results. 3 correct to pass the midterm, 4 to pass the final, and 5 out of 5. And I get experience candies. Alright, now let's do, I think it's math next. Yep, math. Today and for our last class together. Last time we learned about probability using move accuracy as an example. Probability is quite an interesting subject. Did you know that in a class of 40 students, there is a 90% chance that 2 of them will have the same birthday? This is true even despite the fact that there are over 300 days each year. Isn't that remarkable? But let's move on to today's topic before we get swept along with probability again. I've been teaching you all how to calculate damage in this class using examples like type matchups, critical hits, stat bonuses, and the like. All those variables are multiplied together to calculate damage dealt to an opponent. However, did you know that there's an even simpler way to increase the damage of your Pokemon's moves? All you have to do is have your Pokemon use a move that it shares a type with. If a Rock-type Pokemon uses the Rock-type move Stone Edge, the move's base power is 100. It's multiplied by 1.5 to become 150. Ground and Rock may be similar types, but if a Ground Pokemon uses Stone Edge, the move's power will remain 100. Super effective move and critical hits also add multipliers on this little numerical increase. So it most certainly must not be taken lightly. Let me ask you a question to see if you understand what I'm talking about here. Say you have a move with a power of 100, with a Pokemon that shares a type with this move, uses it, and hits an opponent that's weak to that type. What happens to that move's power? 300? You gonna do that calculation all in your head? Well done, Hitomi. First, using a move that shares the type of its user multiplies the move's power of 100 by 1.5, making the power 150. The fact that Pokemon is weak to the move's type then doubles the power from 150 to 300. The original power of the move ends being tripled. Isn't that amazing? What's more, if a Pokemon terrestrialized and its Terra type matches one of its original types, then the bonus it gets from using the move of the same type increases from 1.5 to 2. Of course, being able to use a lot of moves with different types is great as well. That's one way you can surprise your opponent. In the end, your own innate characteristics are what will really let you shine the most. Bear in mind that this is true for both humans and Pokemon. It sure would make me happy to see you all take those words to heart. But I suppose I should really have shared this basic advice right from our first lesson. My apologies. And just like that, class is over. The last of our time together flew by in the blink of an eye. It was so much fun to be able to teach you all eager students about numbers. Next class will be our fun final exam. Be sure to review the material well in preparation. I just had some medical stuff I had to deal with. I'm doing alright. Well, thank you for being worried. It's nothing big, it's just I had some stuff going on. Okay, so the final math exam. Time to begin our final exam. I'm sure the fun experiences you had in my class will serve you well as you answer. How many Great Balls could you purchase with 3,000 if each cost 600? That would be 5. The Water-type move with the power of 100 lands a critical hit on Grass-type Pokemon. What will the move's power be? 75? Under normal conditions, what percent chance does Stone Edge have to land a critical hit? 12? If a Pokemon uses Sword Stance twice to boost its attack by 4 stages, how much damage would its physical moves then do? Triple damage? Terra type is Rock terrestrializes, What will the power of its rock-type moves be multiplied by? Two. Alright everyone, time's up. Put your hands on your laps now. This test was the culmination of all I taught you, and I'm sure you all did just fine. You go and ask for your scores at the front desk, and then take a nice break. Yeah, I've got 4 more classes to go. Five out of 5, okay. Next up is history? Yeah. Well, I thought I had 4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I had 7 classes, okay. Yes, let's get history out of the way. Students, whatever you did yesterday is now a part of history. Today's our last class, so I would like to unravel the marvels that history has presented to us one last time. In our last class, I taught you about the Area Zero expedition of 200 years ago, correct? The last 200 years is not that long ago. Not that long ago at all. How unfortunate that our history lessons must march so exorbitantly toward the future. Would it not be more of an adventure to march toward the past instead? To form our present and study history in reverse? I guess that's why she's the history professor. That may be very hard. Indeed, it may be difficult to understand the flow of events, how one thing leads to another, if we were to trace history in reverse. I suppose I have no choice but to let the flow of time carry us towards the future. In this last class of ours, I shall fill your minds with the history of the terrestrial phenomenon, the technology behind terra orbs and its origins in Area Zero. Even after the Area Zero expedition supposedly reached the crater's deep depths, others continue to explore that area, and found around 140 years ago, Pokemon cloaked in a mysterious light were discovered there. As you may have guessed, these were, in fact, terrestrialized Pokemon. However, when those who discovered these Pokemon brought them out of Area Zero, the light faded and the terrestrial phenomenon remained a mystery for quite some time. However, 10 years ago, it might as well be present day, a certain someone you have definitely heard of unraveled this mystery. Perfect timing to make eye contact, young Hitomi. Answer me this. What is the name of the famous professor who unraveled the terrestrial phenomenon mystery? That would be Professor Turo. You, a transfer student, could correctly answer this question. You must be very diligent in your studies. Approximately 10 years ago, a professor named Turo unraveled the mystery of the terrestrial phenomenon. He discovered that the shining crystals down in Area Zero, or rather the energy they emit, is what causes Pokemon to terrestrialize. This led the professor to invent Terra Orb technology and develop a practical use for it. This technology was then shared with both the Pokemon League and our academy. Rumor has it that Director Clavel was one of the researchers on the professor's team. Alas, this story is much less exciting now that someone we all know appears in it. Modern day history is kinda dull, isn't it? Thus ends my history classes. Our next session will be our final exam. Bring the wonders of history to the forefront of your minds in preparation. Okay, now for the history final. My little students, it's time for our final examination. Summon your historical knowledge from the dark recesses of your minds and answer the questions. What was the area within the Great Crater of Paldea called? That's Area 0. How many years ago was this academy founded? 805? Which of these do not appear in the Paldean fairy tale about 4 treasures? Folding fan. Because it's a vessel, tablets, beads, and a sword. Yeah, so it's not a folding fan. Which Area Zero expedition member wrote the record of the team's activities? That would be he. How many years ago did Professor Turo invent Terra Orbs? And that was 10. Your time is up. Put your writing utensils down. You must excuse that last question. It is too shallow and ridiculous to be on a history test. But alas, the director forced me to include it. So ends our final examination. You may ask for your scores at the school's front desk. Okay, another one down. Is languages? Yes. My dear friends, how are all of you today? It is time for the last of Salvatore's language lessons. Are you ready? Yes. What a response. A great answer. That is perfect for our last class together. I love it. And today we will once again be having a listening lesson. Go for it, my assistant. Pikachu. Friend. For our last listening class, tell everyone how you're feeling right now. That's contagious emotion in Pikachu's voice. What emotion do you suppose Pikachu was trying to convey just now? Happiness. Well done, Hitomi. I'm so happy that you got it right. Get it? When Pikachu says, happiness, doesn't it make you just want to break out in a happy dance? But I didn't have to ask Pikachu to put on an act today. Oh no, I simply asked to just show you all how it felt about getting to have class with you. Getting to meet so many new friends and study together in this class with you. Made both me and my little Pikachu so very happy. And now, apropos of nothing, let me give you a little, one last wise word of advice. As you live your life, I'm sure you'll have times when you get mad or sad, maybe even more than you would like. Everything has its ups and downs. Life is a veritable roller coaster. But in the end, there is surely happiness waiting for you. So keep a smile on your face, even in the hardest of times. When you're faced with a problem you can't handle alone, find someone to rely on. Be it a teacher, your family, your friends, anyone. Our next lesson will be our final exam. Be sure to review what we learned and make in all our lessons so far. Alright. Let's finish with languages, finally. Today we take our final exam. Relax and do your best. Are you ready? Let's begin. Which of the following means delicious? What do these two foreign phrases mean? Based on what you just heard, what emotion do you think Pikachu was expressing? That was anger. Based on what you just heard, what emotion do you think Pikachu was expressing? And that was happiness. What is your beloved teacher's name? I should get this wrong just for being stupid, but Salvatore. Time's up, put your pens down. I assume the obligatory last question gave you no trouble. I'm sure you all did great. Bravo, my friends. You can get your scores at the school's front desk. Honestly, I don't think that last one should count against you because it's just a stupid question. Alright, third to last one. This is our last class. Don't let those energy levels drop before we wrap things up. You've shown that you have more than enough knowledge to be super strong battlers. I don't know that I have much left to teach you. But we can always aim for even greater heights. So today I'll teach you about the rules of link battles. When two trainers participate in link battles together, they can engage in either single battles or double battles with each other. If you're playing in a group of 4, you can all battle each other in multi-battles. Now when you're out having battles during our independent study, you can use whatever number of Pokemon you like, and they can be any level. But in link battles, there are special rules to keep in mind. Some of these special rules involve adjusting Pokemon's levels. Now, the no restrictions rule set lets all Pokemon stay at their current level. It lets trainers use multiple Pokemon of the same species and multiples of the same held item too. But if you choose normal rules, then all Pokemon will be set to level 50 for your battles, regardless of what level they actually are. This includes lower level Pokemon. They'll get a power boost to participate. Normal rules let you use multiples of the same Pokemon species and the same held items too. The great part about this rule set is that it lets any of your Pokemon participate. All they have to do is learn some good moves. Lastly, the rule set called Flat Rules mostly affects Pokemon over level 50. Such Pokemon will be set to level 50 for the duration of this battle. The Flat Rules set is the one often used for official tournaments. This rule set does not allow trainers to use multiple Pokemon of the same species or multiple types of the same held item. Alright, here's a question for you. Which of the rule sets should you pick if you want to use a lower level Pokemon and keep its levels low? Flat rules. That's the one, new kid. Looks like you were listening to the lesson. You got some clever strategy that you need to use a level 5 Pokemon for. Your best bet is to choose the Flat Rules rule set. Of course, you can also choose no restrictions if you want to battle with any Pokemon you want. Add a new level with any held item. That's a pretty good rule set for when you want to battle freely with friends. In conclusion, normal rules adjust all Pokemon to level 50. Flat rules let you use lower level Pokemon at their actual levels. I hope you use these tips to have some exciting battles with your friends. I was just about to suggest we do some hands-on practice to really drive the point home. But I guess we'll have to. We truly are out of time. Next class will be our final exam. Aim for the perfect score. Okay. Alright, now to finish out the class. It's finally game day. Today is our final exam. Time to put on your game faces and do battle with those test sheets. Which should cheer boosts attacks and special attack for all allies during a Terror Raid battle. Go all out. What do we call battles that Pokemon send out with the R button do on their own? Auto battles. How should you obtain LP? Exchange materials? How do Pokemon are adjusted to what level you bring through the Flat Rules in Link battles? Level 50. When using normal rules in Link battles, you can use multiple Pokemon of the same species and multiples of the same held item. That is true. Time's up, put your pencils down. So you give it everything you got. I'm sure you all get a perfect score. You all did so well in my class. If you pass this test, you'll officially be Battle Masters. Now go ask for your surely stellar scores at the front desk, you little rascals. Oh my goodness, so much talking. done with all this. Hello, class. As I hustle yet again. My, how time flies, as they say. Indeed, our time together has certainly flown by. It's hard to believe that this is our last class. Now, our topics for today may feel somewhat unrelated to art. But there is absolutely no set definition as to what art should be. Therefore, let us carry on with the discussion and see where it takes us. There are two things I wish to focus on today: ribbons and marks. Both ribbons and marks are special honors that capture a Pokemon's qualities. There will be times when your Pokemon gives maximum effort or has a noteworthy experience. In recognition of these feats and accomplishments, it can be given a ribbon. To give an example, if you were to become incredibly close to a Pokemon, it may be granted the Best Friends ribbon. Incidentally, there is a person in Casacuarafa who will give your Pokemon a Best Friends ribbon. Marks, on the other hand, are mostly found on wild Pokemon that when you meet them for the first time. They can symbolize the character of that Pokemon, such as a Rowdy Mark or Vigor Mark. It's completely up to luck whether you'll run into a Pokemon with these marks. So if you're able to catch a Pokemon with a mark, rejoice at your outstanding fortune. Does anyone know what special thing you can do with a Pokemon that have ribbons or marks? Change their title, I think? Wonderful, Hitomi, your knowledge is impressive. The correct answer is that Pokemon with ribbons or marks can be given titles. What's more, they can be sent into battle displaying a title of your choosing. For example, you could send out a Gible with a Best Friends ribbon by declaring, "Go, Gible, the great friend." And while I know I just said that marks are generally found already on Pokemon when you meet them for the first time, it seems that more recently Pokemon can be awarded certain marks based on their efforts. These are marks such as the Gourmand mark, the Item Fighter mark, the Partner mark, and so on. Perhaps it might be fun to try and work out how to get each mark using its name as a clue. Well, that just about wraps up our last class. Next is the final exam. Please review our material closely so that you will pass on your first try. Final out of the way. I do hope you're all ready because it's time for your final exam. Focus and do your best. And begin. What's the name of the restaurant where you can change a Pokemon's Terra type? The Treasure Eater. What's the name of Brasius's signature art installation that we ever discussed in this class? Cyrilian Sunflora? How many waterfalls are counted among the 10 sites of Paldea? And none can be added later. False. Time's up, it for today's test. Pencils down, please. Thank you all so much for learning about art with me. The time we shared has left a mark that I will treasure, I promise you. And it's my sincere wish that all of you go on to even greater, more prosperous futures. And that's that. Good work, everyone. You can receive your results from the front desk. Okay. Alright, and so one more class and one more exam to go. Let's get this over with. Put away your phones, it's time to begin our last class together. Home economics is the study of life's necessities. But looking back on our time together, I realized that I focus most entirely on food. Hope that it's not too late to shift to a discussion of clothing, another necessity in our class. As I'm sure you're aware, our academy has an air of freedom about it. We provide uniforms for each season accommodating to the diverse climate of Paldea. However, students are free to wear whatever style they wish whenever they please. You should have received 4 sets of tops and bottoms, one for each. One each for spring, summer, fall, and winter, when the academy accepted you. If by chance you were not aware of this, you may wish to peruse your wardrobe. As long as you wear a school uniform, the rest of your ensemble need not be school issued. This includes your bag, your hat, if you choose to wear one. You are even free to style your hair however you wish. Mr. Salvatore's hairstyle, for example, would almost certainly be against school rules when I was a boy. That reminds me. There is one more thing that you all like to decorate, which I must say I find quite charming. Our Rotom phones? Perfectly correct. That's the adorable little thing I was speaking of. Oh, it interests me so. I must admit I am fascinated by Rotom phones and how to customize them. What's that? How very intriguing. So there's a shop called Delibird Presents, where you can purchase cases for your Rotom phones. I thank you for this useful bit of information. I shall have to go myself first thing tomorrow to get an adorable case of my own liking. Forgive me, it seems I've gotten a little carried away with this small talk. As this class is known as Home Economic Years is in, I offer these final words to you who have been honing everyday life skills with me. My field of study is not so decisive as the likes of mathematics, for instance, where test scores might play a part in deciding your future. However, as you go on to cook for yourselves, take care of your Pokemon, to decide what to wear in the morning when you awaken. I would be honored if what I have taught you serves to smoothen out and enrich your lives, even if only a little. The sentiment was a hard to me by Mr. Fossil and his particular outlook on such matters. Okay, got to do my phone. There we go. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for seeing this class through to the end. Our time together has come to a close for today. Prepare to do your best on your final exam. Alright, final class. today. The time has come to test how well you have learned in my class. Let's begin before the information summary in your brains from last minute cram session phase. Which of the following new powers makes it easier to come across shiny Pokemon? Sparkling power? Which of the following is not an effect of egg power? Hatching stronger Pokemon. What is simply an important tactic for increasing the effectiveness of meal powers? Make food with others. What is the correct action to take when your adorable Pokemon become dirty? Pokemon wash. This is a question about Academy rules. Should you change your uniform tops and bottoms to properly match each season? It doesn't matter. The time for answering questions has come to an end. Please stop writing. I made the questions a little easier than I planned to, as a way of saying thank you for informing me about the Rotom phone cases. I trust that you all have given this exam everything you had so that you will not have to retake it. Please remember to ask for your scores at the front desk before leaving for the day. Okay, so that is the last. The school stuff, thank goodness. Oh giddy, and for finishing all of it, I got something from Clavel. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. I've been talking for so long. Okay, so we'll head to the usual training part and do maybe one or two training sessions where we go and take on the fairy base. So looking at it, that took me 50 minutes to do. And that was just a class and a test. Let me check. So this team is all set except for Nova, but she's kind of there. Well, Nova and Banksy, but they're kind of just in the back. I'm sure Tink could probably take everything. Yeah, this is my fighting team, and Morgana is my dragon team. Yep, okay. So just training up the psychic now. There's the Palooza's. Okay. Okay, Frankie just went to cook puts. Okay, so close to the actual lake. There's one, finally. Hey, don't know what made that noise. There it is. Kilowatt rope. Okay. Okay. Mercy wants to learn Dazzling Flame. Sure. I think that's gonna get rid of confusion. Alright, psychic. Not bad. That's a side beam. Daphne is evolving. Gothitelle, the astral body Pokemon, gazes at the stars to predict the future. It acts somewhat detached because it has seen the end of all existence. I get one more Tatsugiri, and then we'll return, heal up the Pokemon, and then head off to the fairy base. Oh, another Evo! Yay, Mercy! Patreon. Patreon, the serene Pokemon. The moment this Pokemon finds someone who's emitting strong emotions, it will pummel them senseless with its braids to silence them. Okay. Brutal swing. Really, Mercy. Okay, you want to get rid of the starving voice. That's 40 with no accuracy. 60. Okay. Let's go heal up and we'll head out. Alright, so let's put these guys back in the box. Grab these guys. And like last time, Morgana shall be the final resort. Give these guys a chance to shine. So let's head up. And we'll save here. Okay, and Sorry about that. But now let's take on the fairy base. Where are you? The second to final base. Oh, come on. Ah, freaking barriers. Tell me. Operation Starfall is going well, wouldn't you say? Only 2 bosses left now. This whole experience has been eye-opening, to say the least. I'm glad I could take part. But I'm curious to tell me, what do you think of Cassiopeia? They're a bag of riddles. Is that so? Personally, I don't think Cassiopeia feels any hate or resentments towards Team Star. No, there must be some other reason behind Operation Starfall. But what could it be? Well, I best get back to keeping watch. Call for me when you decide to take on the base, okay? Really, you stopped me for that. And you're stopping me again. I will return later when it's time for the young master's piano lesson. Until then, please give him my regards. Yes, Mr. Harrington. And who might you be, young lady? A friend of the young master, perhaps? I'm not sure. Ah, I see. Since you seem unaware, I must inform you that this is the base of Team Claire's fairy crew, the Rukba squad, led by young Master Ortega. Mr. Harrington, I don't think we're supposed to be giving out that information. No? Then please accept my apologies. Do you have any idea who this young lady might be? She's no friend of ours. You know, I think she might be here to try and take us on. Understood. In that case, I take it you're an adversary of the young master. I guess that follows. Is that so? Well then, that leaves me with one last thing to ask you. Huh? Would you be so kind as to indulge me in a quick battle? Sure? Splendid. Then let us begin. Well, I see, Tink was let out early. keep current. Bigger smack. Oh no, setups. Whatever shall I do? Okay, I thought he had another one to go. Well, well. An outstanding performance. However, be aware that young Master Ortega's battle prowess far surpasses my paltry skills. You would do well to take care. Now, if you'll excuse me. Hasta la vista. That gentleman guy used to be the director of the academy, I think? At least that's what I heard. Now he's like tutoring the boss or something. He shows up here sometimes to take the boss to his lessons. Hang on, why am I explaining this to you? There's no doubt you're here to make trouble, so I gotta let everyone know. Hasta la vista! I see the guard has been dealt with. Good job. That base belongs to Team Star's ferry crew, the Rookba squad. Their boss Ortega is the mechanic of the team. He may be the youngest of the bosses, but his battle skills are no joke. Underestimate him, and things will go south for you quickly. He's a real lead from the back type. He has his grunts do all the dirty work for him. But his weak point is his short fuse. Get him good and angry and he'll march out to the front lines to deal with you himself. In terms of tactics, there's nothing else but to take down all the lackeys he sends your way. Just tough it out until Ortega shows up and go from there. Ring the bell on the gates once you're ready to kick off this phase of the operation. Time to wipe the Rubok squad off the map. Alright, time to head in. Code Red, Operation Starfall alert. Everyone get into positions and defend the boss with all you got. And rest assured, intruder, we'll deal with you without the boss's help. Unless you manage to beat 30 of our Pokemon in 10 minutes, that is. Good luck with that. Okay, let's go, Tank. Get him. Alright. Our defenses are breached. It's all up to the boss now. Okay. Talk about underwhelming. I was expecting someone, I don't know, a little bit more beefed up. Well, whatever. I don't care who you are. Not like I'm gonna lose to you anyway. Fairy types are all about cuteness. You're in for a nasty surprise. And of course he has luxury balls. Smarmy little brat. Well, I'm sorry, Steve. Yeah, not sending out. When big is that? Thanks, senior up. Let's see. Banksy in for now. And the poison. Let's switch out to Wendy. Try Sludge Wave. Dang. Let's try it one more time. Team on the roofs. That's totally not fair. Got rid of it. much. Oh yeah, have a look. Gonna give that to Wendy. Okay, let's heal again. Use another max. Wendy, you can do this. Try another sludge wave. Get off the poison. Wendy, let's try this again. Thank you. There we go, Benson. I'm sorry, but it looks like Banksy just gave him the middle finger twice. Ugh, how could I lose? What the heck? About a year and a half ago. What the heck? Your toy car didn't budge an inch, huh? I told you, it's not a toy. It's called the Starmobile, and I was up all night building it. The problem is clearly that we're not giving it enough juice. We designed this thing to be powered by 2 char cadets, but it's just too heavy. That's just such a shame. I wanted to see the looks on our bullies' faces once we got it moving. I'm sorry, I really thought it would work. Come, good fellow. 'Tis no occasion for melancholy. Why, to make such a remarkable contraption by thine own hand, genius, thy name is Ortega. Yeah, well, there's no point if it doesn't work, is there? If I knew all that effort would have 0 payout, I'd just ask Mother to buy a car for us. See, this is why people don't take you seriously. You say some stupid things, you know that? What? Ella, cool it, will ya? Yeah, how about no? I mean, even put it in the code, for crying out loud. When we started Team Star, we swore to quit relying on our parents or bags of cash to fix our problems for us. Or did you forget? That hunk of that junk doesn't move, get it moving. If we're short on juice, just gotta crank up the power somehow. Doesn't take a genius, man. That's easy enough to say, Melly. Do you have an actual plan? Yep, I'm gonna train up my Char Cadet and have him evolve. Their boosted firepower will get the Starmobile moving, no sweat. But the hour of Operation Star is nigh at hand. Will you succeed in time? Oh, I'll get it done. Melly, wait! You know, Mela shoots off her mouth an awful lot, but she means well. I know. Yeah, this sucks. This sucks. I hate myself for losing, but I also can't get over how awesome you were in that battle. If any of us squad bosses are defeated, that means we have to step down. And now going against our code would make me a traitor of the team. Gah, fine. Not like I have any choice anyway, so take the badge already. You better treat it with the respect it deserves. I'm not done yet. Here's my favorite TM, too. Feel free to marvel at how awesome it is. Dazzling Gleam. And just so you know, you are the worst. Like the most annoying person ever. But I get it, you're super strong. I'll admit that much. You even busted up my Starmobile. Yeah, Master Ortega. Mr. Harrington. Guess it's time for my piano lesson, huh? As it happens, I lost my boss title, so I'm all good to head on home. Actually, a different matter brought me. There's someone I would like you to meet. He's a distant acquaintance of mine. The name's Clive. Okay. What's your business here? I want you to tell me something. You're the son of a wealthy family and heir to a major apparel company. So why do you join a group like Team Star? What a question to ask someone you've just met. Well, my answer's the same as everyone else in the team. It's 'cause I was being bullied. So the Academy really did used to have an issue with bullying. Who would guess, right? The school's all rainbows and butterflies these days. And the bullies from back then don't even go to the Academy anymore. Why? What happened to them? As the former director of the Academy, I believe I am best positioned to answer that question. Mr. Harrington. About 18 months ago, the members of Team Star confronted the students who used to bully them, and an altercation broke out between the groups. Though it did not escalate into a major incident, the altercation nonetheless caused a scandal of hitherto unknown proportions. As a result of what occurred that day, the students who perpetrated the bullying dropped out of the Academy, one after another. But there aren't any records of that anywhere in the Academy. No, I should imagine not. My former deputy deleted all the records of the incident, you see. What? Why would anyone do that? Just as I puzzled over how best to deal with Team Star in the aftermath of the incident, a certain student came to see me. The student declared that they would take all responsibility for the team's actions. In exchange, they requested that I exonerate the other students of Team Star from any blame. Huh? No one told me that. I accepted the request and agreed not to take disciplinary action against Team Star. Then, I assigned 18 months of overseas study to the student who took responsibility for the team. A year and a half studying abroad? This was not intended as punishment, you understand. Team Star were the victims, after all. I wanted the student to take some time to rest, so I had them return home to the Galar region, under the pretext of overseas study. Around that time, however, the former deputy director took it upon himself to erase all traces of the incident from the Academy's servers. It appears his intent was to shield himself from any blame. So he tried to cover up the whole thing. That's terrible. After we discovered what he had done, I dealt with him appropriately, of course. But the inability of myself and the rest of the teaching staff to prevent this terrible act also represented a grave blunder on our part. I accepted the blame that lay at my feet and resigned as my position as director. The rest of the teaching staff then joined me in handing in their notices. So that's why the current teachers are all brought in a year and a half ago. I understand my actions have caused you a great deal of trouble. You have my sincerest apologies. Hang on, Mr. Harrington. How come you suddenly decided to talk about this now? Young Master Ortega, Team Star cannot carry on in its current fashion. I merely wish to give you a chance to chart a better course. Well, there's no way I'm abandoning my friends and going to school without them. Not after we've come this far. Your friends in Team Star must mean a great deal to you. Isn't it obvious? It's 'cause, you know, they're my greatest treasure in the whole world. Okay, I think one small little section, and then we can head to the Poké Center and end out for the day. Hitomi, it's me. I take it that Ortega handed over his star badge to you then? I see. With its boss no longer around, the Rubok squad is as good as finished. Even Ortega. I'm sorry. We're almost there now. Just one boss left. The operation's been a huge success thanks to you, Hitomi. And Clive has also performed admirably as your support. Everyone's saying that you're acquaintances. Have you known each other long? Yeah, for a while now. Well, he's clearly a reliable friend. He almost reminds me of the gang back in the day. Which gang? As you know, Team Star was formed by a group of students who were being bullied at school. Shortly after forging the team, these students, none other than the squad bosses themselves, confronted their bullies head-on. The outcome was a resounding victory for Team Star, though you could hardly call it a contest. Bullies didn't even put up a fight. They all bolted from battle the first chance they got. Scared spitless of Team Star, the bullies then dropped out of school, one after another. And Team Star ended up being the villains of the story. But that's neither here nor there. Forget I mentioned it. Now, about your reward, I'll transfer some LP over to your phone as promised. My supply unit rep will be along soon to give you your bonus reward. Here I am. Stay in your Pokeball for once, will you? Team Star went through all that, huh? They just wanted the bullies to go away, but then they became the bad guys in everyone's eyes. What a joke. The students, the teachers, they're just all so messed up. If even just one of them had been paying attention whenever everyone was getting bullied, they'd have been able to see to tell right away that Team Star wasn't the one in the wrong. But I guess the big boss was the one who urged everybody to face their bullies despite knowing how messed up the Academy is. What a massive idiot, creating Team Star and just hoping their plan would miraculously work out. You really think so? I'm sure of it. Well, here's your reward. The next boss is the very last one. We're counting on you, Hitomi. Okay, let's add up. These guys back where they belong. Actually, I think both Banksy... Yeah. Banksy and Wendy go into poison. So next time we will train up these guys. Even though they won't be fighting the dragon boss, or the dragon titan, I still need to get them up to level 56. So Barry's closest, as usual. Excuse me. But that is the team that will take us, and I'll keep them on throughout the Dragon Titan so they can get some XP during the fight, and I will spend the next stream training them up for the fighting base. Then we will get to the fun part of having to decide what teams I need for the bosses? I guess you could call them that. Alrighty. This is where I'll end it. Thank you everyone so much for coming in. Tomorrow morning I do plan on playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. I'm going to try and do a thing where each Saturday I play a different game, because I've got 3 Fire Emblems to go through, and normally there's 4 Saturdays in a month, so I'm thinking first Saturday I'd play Three Houses, second Saturday I'd play Three Hopes, third Saturday I'd play Engage, and then the fourth Saturday, I'd continue on with Persona until we finish that Persona and then roll into the next one. And then hopefully after we complete the Fire Emblems, I may move to other RPGs to play. I do have a bunch of games suggestions on my Discord. So if anyone has any ideas what they want to see me play after I finish a game, I'll definitely take those suggestions. And also, if you had any idea of games you thought I might like to play, there is a description in the top of that one of the chat areas on Discord where I list like things that I can play, things that I don't want to play. So, sorry I'm rambling. Thank you everyone so much for coming in. Tomorrow, like I said, we will be playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. I believe we left off right before Remire, which means I left off right before the fun starts, so that'll be interesting. So anyways, I will see y'all tomorrow morning. Y'all have a nice night.